See, overall August month, we can divide into two parts. It's not a one-part story. There'll be two parts. One part is Sun transit is going to happen into Leo sign, and that is Independence Day chart, 4th July 1776 also states that Leo is their rising sign. And when Leo is the rising sign and Sun is coming to the Leo sign, so that will be. But when we talk about 1st August to 15th of August, I'm seeing the US equity market. Yes, we are seeing semiconductor, then chip stock, then memory stocks, and energy stocks will also perform.
What sectors are going to struggle in August?
In the month of August, at the moment, sometimes on the higher side, sometimes on the.
Now, we've seen the war heat up, particularly between the US and Iran. How much do you think this impacts the sort of oil pricing in the US, but also the energy and power stocks? A lot of countries will continue to suffer as a result.
See, the energy stocks will not go beyond a point because we are not going to see crude now going beyond 100. So wait for this time, turnaround time, when Sun will enter into Leo, then that will be.
Hello, Sanjay ji. Welcome back to Inner Habit. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, ma'am. I'm good. And I think you are also much better than the previous day. And you are looking, quite charming and energetic today.
Wow, I love those compliments. But welcome back. Look, we're talking about the NASDAQ. We're talking about the US equities market or US stock market. Now, to start us off, I should let our viewers know that last July's release, we are so far tracking and trending on what you have said. You have mentioned that NASDAQ could fall 6 to 7%. We currently see at this stage, at this level, and I'm recording this episode on July 19th, that the NASDAQ has fallen 2% already.
Yeah, it is 2.65 to be very precise. I'm having the data in front of me for all the indices. And the last week was pretty bad for the US equity market because I'm getting ready for my weekly episode for US equity market. So the data is in front of me. So overall, yes, whatever we had projected to the clients and that it has exactly delivered, or in SOX in semiconductor, it has delivered more than the downside is, quite deep. It is 18% as on date right now for the month.
Right. And Micron's just collapsed. Micron went down severely.
And I would say the downfall this is just a beginning. It is not the end. So we are going to see, very scary figures in times to come. But it will not be a one-sided downside. There will be a rallies also. Let's start, and I will tell you that how August month will be faring up overall for the US equity market.
Correct. So now let's focus on the August market. Tell us more about this August market. Like we start on August 1st to 31st. This is where the podcast commences from. So whatever comments, you have to review how your August month is going before you throw any comments at us. But how is August looking as per astrology?
See, overall August month, we can divide into two parts. It's not a one-part story. There'll be two parts. One part is the downside, another part it is smart recovery also. So when we talk about the planets for US equity market, we consider Sun is the major planet. And Sun transit is going to happen into Leo sign, and US equity, US, that is Independence Day chart, 4th July 1776 also states that Leo is their rising sign. And when Leo is the rising sign and Sun is coming to the Leo sign, so that will be good for them overall. Although Jupiter is in 12th house and Sun is in 12th house at the moment, which is giving the downside, plus Mercury is also retro, and this current downside is because of Mercury retro period. But when we talk about 1st August to 15th of August, I'm seeing downside in the first half, whereas smart recovery in the second half from 15, 16 August onwards.
Do you have any sort of percentage figures? And are we talking about the NASDAQ here, the S&P? What are we looking at?
See, NASDAQ also for the month of July, although it predicted a downside of 5 to 7%, it will be there. But for the month of August, I am seeing a flattish close. Means the downside will be there 4 to 5% in the first half, but smart recovery will be there from 15th August onwards till 31st August. It will be manageable and the downside will be a flattish one. And September will be altogether a different month than August. So we are not going to discuss for September at the moment. And my research is only confined for August month. So in August, we are saying first half bearish, second half bullish that way.
So now tell me a little bit about what sectors are going to struggle in August, because we look at the semiconductors in July, there have been horrifying results.
Yeah. Semiconductor, it is basically a profit booking which is going on. It is not kind of a crash or sort of it at the moment, but this profit booking will continue, and the people who had invested earlier, they will book their profit. They are happy with the profit. They move out, and the new people will enter. So the rotation will be there. It is not that one-sided. The profit booking will continue, but the rise will also be there, and the main action will again in the chip stocks and this semiconductor stocks only for this month also for the month of August. Yes, Shruti.
So if I asked you then, what stocks people should consider for the month of August, what is looking strong astrologically? Because some of the stocks that you can invest in the US, you can't necessarily invest in India and vice versa. So I guess what I'm trying to look for is whether and we've completed a recent podcast on the Nifty and what stocks would be strong over there. So just wondering what sectors we're looking at in August for the US equities market.
The US equity market, yes, we are seeing semiconductor, then chip stock, then memory stocks, and energy stocks will also perform good in the month of August. And to some extent, infrastructure stock, then these stocks will do better. Defense is okay at the moment, sometimes on the higher side, sometimes on the downside. And the another sector which will do better, that is mining stocks or metal stocks, because mining and metal, because in the month of August we are going to see some kind of a rally in gold rather. So because of that reason, precious metals will rise and mining stocks will also rise in the month of August.
Talk to me about mining. I mean, mining is sort of looking, and I was doing some technical analysis. Mining, there are a couple of companies that are sort of going bearish in that mining sector. Then there is also the chip stocks, which I've been reviewing. The semiconductor industry is also going sort of pear-shaped at the moment. We're hoping that it climbs up in August. We've got metals like palladium that are, by the way, palladium just blew up on the charts, right? If you look at the palladium chart, it was bearish or consolidating for a while, and then it's now taking off. So what is your take on these type of mining stocks that are actually sort of not exactly up there? They're sort of crashing or they're coming down?
These kind of stocks are future success story, and we should keep on averaging out and keep on investing. And but for the time being, we are discussing only for the month of August. So not a big shake in the month of August as such. Yes, for the future months, or if you see couple of years horizon, then yes, it is the good investment part.
Now, we've seen the war heat up, particularly between the US and Iran. That, if you look at it today, unfortunately, Iran has killed a couple of soldiers, US soldiers, and so that is looking like it's going to heat up. How much do you think this impacts the sort of oil pricing in the US, but also the energy and power stocks? A lot of countries will continue to suffer as a result.
See, the energy stocks will not go beyond a point, because we are not going to see crude now going beyond 100 US dollar. I'm talking about WTI crude. So for this week, we had already given a guidance of 85 up to 80, 85. It can go. But over there, around 90, then, US bond yield will increase, they shake up, and then Donald Trump taco trade will come into effect. And, then again, they will say that peace has already been established, or we are stopping unilaterally with Pakistan interference on Qatar interference. Like that way, they will backtrack. So for crude, nervous 90s will be there. So above 90, it will be difficult for US to sustain the war. That is it. And ultimately, they will leave this war to Israel, and Israel will continue to fight with Iran and other, European countries, this Middle East countries.
I see that happening all of a sudden. There'll be a stop, there'll be a pause, and it's the way I suppose politics works over there. They initially lunge out and then they sort of stop the war, which actually happens everywhere. I wouldn't just say the US itself. Now, if I asked you what individuals should be aware about in August when it comes to trading the US equities, what would you say to me?
See, yes, US equity market, it is the month of August will be, mix and match, which I've already said to you. Saturn is getting retrograde from 27th of July, and it will give, push to metal stocks overall. And although it is bad, Saturn retrogression is bad for US because Saturn is not a favorable planet for US. Whereas Rahu will move to North Node, will move to Dhanishta Nakshatra on 2nd of August. This is again a very important one. And because of this, it will give a, structural disorder to US equity market. Some big banks are getting into pressure. I'm seeing, the big banks, the big names over there, because money lending will be costly, and people will want to park money into US, bonds as such. So there will be some issues with the banking sector also over there, or a private sector, because at the moment in US, the private sector money lending is, has increased like anything in last 10 to 15 years.
So what you're saying is the debt over there, lending individuals to buy purchase houses or whatever, credit card debts and so on, has increased tremendously.
Yes, 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 yes. The private debt, and I will take you way back to 2007 when Lehman Brothers was crashed like anything. So these kind of things, subprime crisis can happen in times to come. Had already anticipated and we talked about in our long-term vision guidance that 90% downside will be there in NASDAQ in times to come. People will. It is a very hard figure to believe as on date. So, but when they see 4 to 5% downside every week, every month rather, so they'll slowly and gradually finding it. Yes, it can happen. So it is a long story. 5 to 6 years period we are talking about, to the 30, 31. So, but overall, we are going to see, cracks in US equity market, in the financial system rather. First, financial system and smart people will start booking. Uh, so my guidance for all those people who are having good profit from US equity market in last 1 year or 2 years. So the smart thing is to keep your profit, encash it, and wait for the right opportunity to re-enter in the same trade or some other scripts of their choice.
Got it. Now, interest rates. Interest rates is a very hot topic because Mr. Wash, who sits up there, does no longer give you any sort of tips or any sort of tidbits that people like where they can go, oh, he's going to increase the interest rates, or oh, he's going to decrease it. So things have changed there. So he doesn't like that noise that's coming out. So your take on interest rates in the US?
Interest rate in US, house is divided, the Fed is divided, and I don't see in the month of September when the decision will be given, I don't see they will do it in the month of September. They will postpone it. And that's why we are going to see some kind of a rally in the month of September in precious metals. So I don't foresee.
Okay, because Sanjay ji, when I look at the CPI and the way the war has progressed, again, the CPI may be higher. I mean, the CPI this month, from my knowledge, in July fell. From the expected rate, it went even below that. So it is a very different situation there. Whereas I expected gold to rally, and gold, for example, did not rally at all.
That is there because see, people are not still skeptical about new Fed chair statements and the dovish speech and other things. So they just want to make the things clear before investing or reinvesting into precious metals. So that's why I'm saying to you, from 15th of August onwards, I'm seeing a different kind of thing in precious metals and as well as in US equities. So wait for this time, turnaround time, when Sun will enter into Leo, then that will be good period for US equity market also again, and as well as for precious metals.
Sanjay ji, is there anything that we've missed here that will help individuals in August in their investment journey in the US equity market? Do we need, ideally, what I'm looking at is a strategy for people to utilize and make sure that whatever advice we provide them within any of the equities markets, so that they can invest correctly or go in the right direction.
Yes, yes. For the equity market, the guidance is as such. People who had invested madly about semiconductor and this chip stocks, they should book the profit and look towards the conventional industries. For your information, last week we had heard that Nvidia is no longer a number one slot. They have lost that number one slot to Apple in the last week. So that's what I'm saying to you. Hardware technologies, although IBM has given record low performance, it is not IBM I'm talking about. I'm talking about the other conventional stocks where people can invest the defensive stocks for the time being, because this market is going to shake up like anything in times to come. And August is a month. If you are having good profit, decent profits, so you should book your profit and invest in S&P 500 stocks or Dow Jones industrial stocks. That is more balanced approach, because when we see the semiconductor indices SOX has crashed 18% last month, whereas in comparison to S&P 500 just 0.56% and Dow 0.33%. So there's no major correction in Dow and or S&P stocks. So my advice to clients that they should look forward to the conventional stocks or the industries. And because the industry is not going anywhere at the moment, it is only the semiconductor, chip, memory, then data center stocks, which are getting pressure because of ballooning effect was there. And lot many companies had given 5 to 7%, 10 times returns in last 1 to 2 years. So this is the best time to book the profit over there. Don't expect that they will multiply like same way in another 3 months, 6 months. So that is the more prudent approach for the month of August, because August, September onwards means from October onwards, we are going to see heavy downside in US equity market. So still we have got, cooling time. This is a cooling time. We should come out and book your profit. That will be a more sensible approach.
And to let our viewers know, we will probably record the September and October podcasts, US equity market podcasts anyway. So Sanjay ji will be able to give you a better analysis of what's happening in September and October anyways. But to cover August, I do agree with you. I do see another downside in those industries or the semiconductors and chip space. I'm quite surprised to hear that the S&P is doing okay. Although, having said that, I did look at the S&P chart, and that also is quite a bullish trend from, I was looking at it from 1930s actually. So very interesting. I haven't looked at the Dow much, but I'll go with you what you're saying, because you do this day in, day out, and suggest to everyone that perhaps August is better for you to invest in the S&P and the Dow. So Sanjay ji, I really want to thank you for coming on this podcast. It's short, it's sweet, and we'll see you in September.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye bye.
Bye.